All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Whitney, and I am here with Lisa today. Excited to get into her message. I know she definitely has a story of persevering through past experiences and allowing herself to truly get to the next level. And so I'm excited to dive more into your message today. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, everyone. So excited to.
Amazing, amazing. For everyone watching, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, so I'm Elisaveta, also Elisa for short. But yeah, basically, I'm based in Austria right now. And I'm a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. And this can be a long name, but this basically means that I help survivors of psychological and emotional abuse to heal, to recover from complex PTSD, trauma, and then thrive from the abuse and in their lives.
Wow. So you took something that was maybe a painful experience and you were able to actually shed light on the situation and make it in a way where it's actually serving people. So tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how did you actually get started and what pushed you to take this path seriously?
Yeah, for sure. So my experience in my job, basically, it came from personal situation. So I did have an abusive family as well. And this is what mostly contributed, and it's my main reason of why I started doing what I'm doing.
Wow. Okay. And so for you, based on everything that you've been through, what's something that you struggled with that people wouldn't expect, and how were you able to, to push past that?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. And I think what really people should focus more on, aside from the fact of, like healing overall on all the, the trauma and the wounds, I think it's self-hatred. And it's the wound of shame and guilt that narcissists usually try to, to put into us. So this is how I began the journey by identifying the main core wound that not only myself but that we also have as a collective. And yeah, I started to heal it, and I understood that many times it's just projections from other people. That's one of the things that mainly helped me heal.
So you're saying like there's other voices or maybe outside opinions that can kind of lead us astray. But when we learn to focus on ourselves and our capabilities and to truly listen to to our voice and our path, then we can have that focus to move forward. Is that right?
Mm. Yeah,
I love that.
exactly. And there's also, yeah, and there's a huge difference on, like people around us just trying to put this limiting belief comments, and actually what the narcissist does, they really emphasize on really hating yourself and being so ashamed of yourself to the point of sometimes you can't go with life anymore.
Yeah. And I know, there's people out here that really feel that, they feel what you're saying right now. People are tuning in and they're listening. And, I think, at some point we all maybe have that moment where we feel like, I just want to give up, or maybe this is too hard, or this is, not what I expected. Was there a moment for you that you wanted to quit? And what's maybe one practical thing that you can give us to allow ourselves to actually focus on the end goal versus quitting?
Yeah, I really love this question. And yes, the answer to your question is definitely there has been like many times. And I say this not only as myself as a human, but also as a coach and, as a holistic therapist, because like many times people assume that mental health professionals or people, spiritual teachers, they assume that they are perfect and we are not. And I experienced this so many times in my life. Yeah. What I would recommend is to do basically to say and to act as if what you wanted to Like, for example, let's say that you had abusive parents and you had really strict parents. Obviously, it's the worst thing that you wanted in your life. So for a change, it's really hard, but I really recommend you to try this at least, is to basically do the opposite of what you experienced, do the opposite of what you had in life, do the opposite of what your parents or relationships did to you. So just a quick example, let's say that the people in your life really call you bad names. What you want to do is use kindness to yourself, really reparent yourself. That's the summary.
I love that answer because you said something that I feel like touched on something close to home for many people. And it's
Hmm.
the fact that we don't choose our family. We don't get to choose, you know, the people that come into our lives necessarily when it comes to blood, right? But we get to choose how we respond. We get to choose how we live. We get to choose how we show up in the world. And we get to choose whether our situations define us or refine us. And I think you are able to take what you went through and make something beautiful out of it to now allow people to understand that you don't have to be who they said you are. You don't have to stay stuck in the environments that you grew up in. Just because it hurt you, it doesn't define you. and
Exactly,
and I
exactly.
and I love what you're saying here because I know that you're not the only person that struggled with this, but you were also able to come out of it. And so I want to know for you because you were able to turn things around for yourself. And like you mentioned, you didn't stay stuck in what could have been something that actually took a hold on you, but you were able to turn it into life. So, Lisa, for you, what problem now do you solve better than most?
I love this question too because, yeah, I actually like the biggest problem I see in society, as I mentioned before, it's actually, the self-hatred. But many people are actually, what I saw many times, it's my clients either go from, spiritual practices or the mental health field. So let's say like psychology therapists, counselors. So there's no bridge. And what I actually do is put the bridge between like spirituality and mental health, because my modalities include both um, modalities in psychology and mental health, and then spiritual ones. I also do Reiki, for example, or I also provide tarot and oracle readings. So what I do is help you bring back that self-love, because everything comes from love. If you don't love yourself, you're going to be either like a really depressed person, or you're going to lash out and project that anger to others. There's different types of how you react. So everything comes from love, and the way that you treat yourself, that's what I mostly focus. And the way that I focus is basically combining psychology and spirituality. And that's what I found that works most powerful, like combining somatic, mindset, and energetics in my work.
So you mentioned mindset because I definitely resonate with that side of things. And so what I wanted to ask you, what is a mindset shift that changed everything for you?
I think one of the most important things that we have to realize is that we are the creators of our reality. And I not only say this as in generally speaking, but also a lot focused on mental health and specifically on narcissistic abuse recovery. Many times we have made like belief that we're victims, that we suffered, and there's nothing we can do to change it. And probably we're stuck in loops that we think that, oh, we just attract this type of people that abuse us and that use us. But that's not the truth. Is we have to understand that once we begin to change the way that we think about life, we have to begin to understand that life is not something that happens to us. Life is something that occurs, like life responds actually what we think and what actions we take. So now we go from victims to victors, and that's an important shift and change.
I love that. Now we go from victims to victors. And I love that you said that. That's such an important reminder. And I think, you know, for you, I'd love to know what is the perfect person or who is the perfect person that you're looking to work with right now? And what are some results that you can get them?
The perfect person, I would say, is someone I really don't care if they are open to start healing. I'm also open to get people who are actually new to this, who might not know a lot about spirituality or mental health and psychology, or also the person that has already been, in therapy. Maybe I have clients that are in other types of therapy as well when they work with me. Both people, both kind of people are okay. The important thing is that they are actually committed to change, because when we
Mm,
work together, I'm going to give them the tools and they're going to have accountability checks, and they really need to do the work. I'm going to be with them in every step of the way, so they don't need to feel like they're alone doing all the work. But yes, the important thing is commitment to change, growth, and transformation, even if it's going to get triggering, because sometimes it is.
change your mind, change your mind, change your life. And I love
Mm,
that you dove into the aspect of just understanding that there's accountability here, right? Like you can be their accountability partner, but they also need to do the work. And I think some
yes.
people forget that, it's not about just about having a coach or a mentor, but it's really about also allowing yourself to do the things outside of the learning. Like, what are you doing when you're alone? What are you doing when you go home? What are you doing after the session? Like, are you taking advantage of everything that you're learning to be able to apply it and to really change your life? So I love everything that you spoke about here today. My question for you, Lisa, because I think you kind of dove into this already, but I'd love to know, what does being seen and heard personally mean to you?
I really love this question again. You have such good questions. And it's also a question that really hits home too for myself, because, and this is really important, I'm going to mention I'm the oldest daughter. And this is many times it really hits home, because for us, people don't really accept us who we are. Like they expect us to be the second mother, the doctor, even the therapist of the family. They expect us to take care of every single responsibility. But even if you're not the oldest daughter, it doesn't matter. The thing is just being accepted for who you truly are, not really expecting anything out of you, not expecting you to do anything or to say anything, just for being yourself. I think that's really what it means.
Yeah, and you said something good there that I really love that stood out. And what that is that we can still be ourselves despite what people say about us, despite the opinions that are in the world, because regardless, there's always going to be opinions. People will love or hate us, but at the end of the day, the voices don't define who we are. And I think it's so important that you touched on this in this message, because it's important that we bring our reminder back to who we are and who we were created to be. And I believe that God has created us to be these beautiful people that truly go out and serve more and more people. And when you can step in a place to serve, I think that that you're doing something right. And so I'm so glad that we had this conversation. I think that there was a lot of gems mentioned. um, but I have one last question for you. Like, what's a belief you had to break to become successful?
I think that's a powerful question, first of all. And I think the belief I had to break is, what comes to mind is I'm small. Like, really, abusers or just people in general, even if your family is not toxic or abusive, maybe they might mean well, but they don't have the tools to express it. But generally speaking, what we have in society is they tell us you are small, or you won't be able to do this because XYZ. We are the ones that set the limits, like what I mentioned before, on we are the creators, we are the ones that put the limits, not people around us. So once you understand and realize this, you're like, okay, I can do whatever. Like, And also what's really trending on the internet is like we have free will, right? When we're in adulthood, we have free will. So just do whatever with your free will and set your business, heal from abuse, leave your narcissist, whatever. You can do anything.
I think that was one of my favorite takeaways from this episode is you don't have to be small. Your limitations do not have to keep you limited. Absolutely love this conversation. Lisa, you have great advice, my friend, for everyone that is tuning in and that is watching. If you want to change your mind, if you want to stop playing small, and you want to step into your purpose, and maybe you've had things that have limited you in the past, make sure you get connected with Lisa because I promise, she will allow you to just see things a little bit clearer and to step into the purpose that you were meant to. So thank you so much, Lisa, for being here today. And I'm
Thank
excited to learn more about you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
I love it. I love it. What a good episode. Let me go ahead and stop the timer. Let's see. Perfect.